Welcome everyone. We'll start our new Unit 9, Strategic Change Management, and Lesson 1. My name is Anjum Satar. My email addresses are here in case if you need me. I'm teaching with the University last 5+ years now. And if you have any question, just drop me email and I'll get back to you. And I wish you know to complete this unit successfully. So please try to be carry on watching, listening, and if you go online, you can find all the resources on Moodle as well. So if you have any question, anything about any learning outcome, please drop me email. I'll get back to you and we can go through. Today is lesson 1. So first of all, what is meant by strategic, which is mean long term, change mean something new, and management is a process of achieving organization objective. Management is a process of designing an environment to achieve pre-selected objectives. So whatever the objective we selected, we want to achieve, that's the management. Strategic, long-term, change is mean new something, new ideas, innovation, and management is mean to achieve, to manage our resources to achieve our objective. So all this is come under management, which we'll go through. Okay, so before starting our lesson, we'll first go through what we're supposed to learn under this unit. This Unit 9, Strategic Change Management, which is level 7, 15 credit unit, 150 hours, guided learning hours 75, and only the criteria pass or fail. The aim of this unit to develop learner understanding classic and contemporary theories of change management, which we will go through. That's the key purpose. We have a learning outcome first, which will go through first and second today. Be able to evaluate the change agent, knowledge, attributes, skills, and development. So which will discuss, what sort of the skills, what sort of ability, what sort of leadership style required to make a change will happen successfully. Then we'll go through some theories, what are those theories which we need to keep in mind, when we'll go through and we'll prepare change management process, because end of the day, whatever the change we want, ultimately we want to achieve our organization objective. So which will go through, be able to create a plan and implement effective change within our organization. So you need to be create a plan how you implement it effectively. Sometimes we want change, but actually we can't implement it because there are the lot of forces those are against our change. So think about in our organization, because sometimes our personal interest and the organization interest is conflict. Organization want to pay you less, want you to work effect more innovative, more longer hour, more productivity, but we want more salaries. We want to be less work, more salaries. Yes, that's really, as a human being, we have. So we need to look around what are the motivational theories behind as well, which we can discuss some stage as well. So that will help to be change, implement the change effectively within our organization. Be able to analyze the stakeholder response. So we need to look around the stakeholder. We want to change. We want to pay from weekly salary to the monthly salary because we want to reduce the payroll cost, and ultimately which we want to be. But this is a huge impact on the stakeholder. Maybe the last people will leave the job. The reason is they used to get the salaries weekly and they want now monthly, and maybe they make their budget on the weekly basis, and now we want to enforce them, or we want to implement them or change according to the monthly salary instead of weekly. So that's a huge, so we need to look around the stakeholders, implies various stakeholder who has any interest in the business, or their life will be influenced due to our actions of our company, we call stakeholders. During our last lesson, which I will go through, be able to involve functional areas. What are the functional areas? How the change will impact, on these, like in terms of marketing, human resource, productions, all these are the functional areas, and which will go through how we can and how organization can function effectively. So all this will be in our discussion. So whenever, please, when you start your writing assignment, always good to be And even when we'll go through these lessons, we'll try to go through all inductive contents, what we're supposed to discuss, So please, sometime few maybe word will cover in my discussion and during our discussion, which I'll explain you maybe in the not really 100% reflect in slides as well. But main thing, the some words itself, it's a self-explanatory few things as well, which I'll link with the discussion. So with the cases and with the examples. So we'll go through effective change agent. What is meant by agent is mean the working somewhere on the behalf of someone, attitudes, values, behaviors of change of agent, which will leadership, growth, opportunity, demonstrate all this self-reflection, what is meant by, which will go through some stage, some reflection models as well. Those are quite good, we need to look around how we can reflect ourselves and then how we can, yeah, we are right. Then we'll knowledge skills, what sort of knowledge skills and required, and what is meant by competencies. What is meant by competencies? Anybody any thought about competencies?
Skills to do the job.
Good. So capability is ability to do something. Competencies mean you're competent, you're very efficient in those areas. So
Yes.
come with the experience. That's why the organization wants some experience, some skills, some abilities. So we need to look around those, and then principle of change, why we need to be, what is the basic principle behind of change. We need to understand those. We need to understand the culture of organization, what effect will be of change on the culture of the organization. We need to look around the basic principle, human ability to accept the change or not. So those we need to motivate. We need to think about different theories, which will go through different models. We need to look around the causes. We'll go through. Anybody heard about TQM? What is meant by TQM?
Total quality management.
Brilliant. Well done. Total quality management, the role in our organization. If we have quality recruitment, if we have provided quality resources, so we are expecting quality output as well. So which we'll go through. So I will add, example in our discussion. So these are all key things to lesson which we'll go through. Then of course, the following lessons will go through all the inductive contents we'll cover. Okay, guys, we'll start our lesson now. If you have any questions, so please just drop me email, just chat box, carry on typing the messages, and I'll carry on, adding my discussion as well. Example, if you want to share your experiences, a collective learning always good, Okay, we'll start lesson 1. My name is Anjum Satha as earlier, and today we'll go through LO1, LO2, and first of all we'll go through change. Why we'll make change? What is the purpose of change? Really we need to change?
Sometimes we have to, sometimes we want to.
Well done. Sometimes we have to, sometimes we want. Of course, if we don't make the change, we'll say the thing, whatever we used to do, whatever the way we used to do the thing, it's because it's a changing environment. We have to change ourselves. If we don't change ourselves, we'll stay behind. So because it's a quite fast changing, innovative environment, if we go through the traditional practices or the traditional way of our business, will maybe stay behind than our competitors because they will get the competitive advantage. So first of all, we need to think about if we'll change. Ultimately, the change purpose is the performance, to improve the performance. If the change will reduce your performance, it's not good. Yes, ultimately we need to be, but we need to look around the short term, medium term, and the long term effect. Any change has short term, medium term, and the long term effect. Think about smoking. So in the UK or various part of the world as well. So first of all, sports smoking, lot of smoking, cigarette advert used to be. Then the government stopped, those, and they said and the government lose lot of revenue from it. So the smoking bans with, because it's a sports and you're promoting a smoking as well. So what message? That's ethically, morally is wrong. So one way you're saying sports is a healthy activity, another way you smoke as well, which is unhealthy activity. So we need to look around that. Then ultimately the government took the next step. They stop smoking and make the legislations on the public places, like in train, in tram, in aeroplanes, and various other places, shopping malls. So then the third place, they said, okay, you can't smoke inside the car as well if you have a children with you. Then the fourth place, even the legislation passed, you can't smoke inside the house if you have a kids. You have to smoke outside or in the separate room where the uh, good ventilation system is in place. So otherwise, so these are the step-by-step approach. So think about if we instant will say no, everything we not don't want to be allowed to sell the tobacco. So ultimately, this will be huge impact on the demotivation. So we need to be look around in a business world as well, step-by-step approach. So management objective is attain of organization goal in effective and efficient manner through planning, organizing, leading, controlling organization resources. According to the Peter Drucker, one of the great scholar, is a guru of management. He wrote many books on management. He said management is a task. So management is a task. Management is a discipline. So if we are good discipline, we have as a manager, we can manage. So if we don't have our discipline ourselves, of course we can't manage others. So but the management is also people. If you better understand the people's concern, you can manage better. So every achievement of management is achievement of a manager. So if something we are achieving as a whole is achieved, that's why managers normally getting higher bonus than the employees. If we are achieving it, every failure is a failure of managers. In the hospitality industry, the role of management essential, coordinate technology, structure, people, policies, procedures, all we need to look around. For example, corporate strategy, decision making, planning, organizing, all this is managers need to deal with it and need to be managed. If we don't manage it, okay, what make performance? So when we really looking, we want to change something as an agent, because managers is the agent of shareholders, because ultimately the shareholders are the owner of the business. Then they select the director, and the director select the management, or they will manage themselves. So we need to look around what make performance management. So leadership, skills, knowledge, style, standard goals, power-based types of people, and relationship tasks. We need leadership. What is the difference between managers and leaders? Any thought? Yes, anybody, any thought? What is the difference between managers and leaders? Okay. Managers is mean something, we manage something which is all. Leader is an influence on others. Yes, influence, bring something new. So manager is just manage it. Leader is always something new. So leadership skill is always is a crucial. So that's why in each course nowadays a lot of emphasis to teach leadership skill. Doesn't matter whatever the course you're doing, either you're doing accounting, electrical, electronic, mechanical, whatever. End of the day is need to be a leader in your profession. You have ability to lead, you have ability to influence, you have ability to motivate, you have ability to lead. So size, age, coherence, goals, and our relations. So all we need to system and structure we need as a leader. Abilities. So people, personalities, attitudes, we need to look around, training, motivation to work, organization, which is come economics, environment, physical, all we need to be looking at. So when we have a performance management, if we'll manage individual, if we manage our system effective of organization, and we have a good information about environment, ultimately our performance will increase and will lead. So to understand, so first of all, we need to look around. Okay, any question?
No.
Okay, next we're looking now. Performance is the development of individual with the competencies and commitment towards achievement, shared meaningful objective, organization which is sports, encourage and achievement. Performance management is a process of directing sporting employees effectively, efficiently as possible in line with the needs of organization. Performance is a strategic integrated approach. So whatever we want to change, ultimately we want to improve the performance in the short term, medium term, and the long term. All is all about the managing change. Purpose is improve the performance. So always good to be first. We learn about what is the performance. So performance is quite crucial. So performance we need to be managed. Okay. So next we're looking the change. What is meant by change management? So what is a change and why we need to change? So next we're looking the change management. So many business strategies involve change of some type. Meaning of change aspect successfully during the implementation stage can be often critical to success of the strategy. So type of change can be, so we can look around transformation, tails, changing an organization culture. We change organization culture. What is meant by culture? Culture means norms, value, the way we do the business, which is represent or reflect our culture. It is a fundamental change that cannot be handled within the existing organization paradigm. So maybe we can look around totally new things. Realignment does not involve the fundamental of the central exemptions and belief, which will go through further. The next model will see an incremental change. So some you dramatically change, you change organization structure, you move the people, you make redundant, you change the way you used to, or you can say simple is a new organization under new management. So that's why you seen a lot of advert on this business is under new management. Why not is the old management? Does it make any difference to customer or the client? Yes, maybe if they have a past bad experience and they don't want to deal with the organization because maybe the new management have a new style and they have a change, they change everything. Incremental change can take a longer period of time, but the result in the fundamental different organization once completed. Big bang change is likely to be forced. Reactive transformation using spontaneously initiatives on many fronts, which will at relatively short space of time. So we need to be quick change. So if we don't change it, we won't exist it. So what is a change? Transformation, incremental change is implemented gradually through interrelated initiatives that like to be proactive change undertaken in the participate of the needs of for the further change or the future change which we need to look around. Alignment, realignment, so we need to adaptations. Change is undertaking realign the way in which the organization operates. So that's we need to be look around. Speed of change, one can be incremental, one can be big bang, which is revaluations, transformational change that occur simultaneously, initiative in many fronts. That's a big bang. We need to look around, quickly change. Reconstruction change undertaken to the realign the way in which the organization operate in many initiative and implement. So we need to look around. Either we want incremental or spontaneous change. So whatever will change it, ultimately the purpose behind, we need to look around what really we want to achieve. Another way evaluation explained by, we need to look around the learning system. However, the incremental change may be danger to the strategic drift. So we need to be look around because incremental. Okay. Next, we're looking now. We need to look around. When we'll make the change, should be have a purpose behind the change. Why we want to be changed. If we don't change ourselves, we can't really sustain in a business. Think about Nokia. We quoted many times examples. So Nokia is one of the company. So the way they used to do business, and they because they not really change themselves at the right time, at the right place, with the right this innovation. So ultimately, what's happened? That's why we very few people have a Nokia now instead of uh, Apple and various other smartphone providers. The reason is we stayed behind the change which we're supposed to be. So that's why we need to look around. The change we need to be make regular. Okay. Any question?
No.
Okay.
Hi, Andrew. Just a quick one. Shariful was with me having the induction, so he's joined now, and he's one of the new learners who's starting off with the new unit. Shariful Ali.
Okay, welcome.
Hello.
So I will sign out, and I'll just wanted to make sure that apologies. He's been finishing an induction with me, and that's the reason he's joined late.
No problem. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Rana.
Hi, Ernest. You're okay?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Good stuff. I'll catch up with you and let you get on with the session, Anju. I'm sorry for the interference.
No problem. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye. Okay. An approach of strategic change, which we need to look at. Welcome, Shrif. We'll start and we'll chat, later on. Okay. So
Okay.
the window of opportunity for achieving revolutionary strategic change can be small for the number of reasons. Some most common triggers why we need to be changed. First thing, competitive pressure. Competitive pressure, think about, in the industry, one used to be competitors, then two, then three, then gradually competitors carry on increasing. So what will be happen when the competition increase? You need to be work as efficient. Think about, as well as a human being, there are the number of applicants, those are applying with the same degree, with the same qualification, with the same knowledge. Why the employer will hire you? So we need to think about, sometimes employer always ask you, why will recruit you? Then what answer you will give? You will say, I have a qualification. Yes, that's fine. Oh, you have a qualification. I have other applicants, they have a qualification. Why will recruit you? Okay, we need to think about what the innovative or competitive skills we have, which is competitor is less competitor or other applicant is little behind. Of course, we don't know them effectively, but you need to be reflect on it. We need to give some examples from. So maybe you need to be look around the what innovations you maybe code some, you involve in some project where you save the cost, but that's why you know the organization well, what you can bring to organization. So all these we need to look around, because the competitive pressure ultimately forcing us to make a change. Okay, regulatory pressures, one other thing why we want to change happen. Regulatory pressures, what sort of regulatory pressure? Any example? What do you think? Yes, anybody, any example? Regulatory pressures?
Something that has to be done by people that have instructed. There's no leeway.
Well done, great. Recent in the UK is changed the GDPR, yes, General Data Protection Regulation. So the way we used to deal with the data or the electronic data, we have to change ourselves. If we don't change it, ultimately we are going to break the law. Yes? The way we used to be, we can't send emails to anyone without, or we need to be really where we get the information. Every individual have a right to ask, from us, where you got this my information from. Yes, under the GDPR. So we need to think about If we're not telling them and we're saying, no, no, we bought it this or with this and that, somebody can make the case against us. So we need to change the way we handle the data. Yes, due to the legislation. Okay. Then the next step, we're looking the first mover advantage. If we have a change, we are innovative, like if we are offering digital accounting services, or we are offering online booking, we are offering refund facility, we are offering tracking facilities. So this is the first time maybe other is not doing it. Think about Apple first time, uh, music stores, online apps, and various things. So that's why Apple stayed ahead than Nokia, and Nokia. So first time mover in the industry always advantage, but it's a very costly process as well. So we must need to be look around. First time mover, it can be little change. It's not mean everything, you spend the money just so you make the change. Okay, so next we looking now, we'll go through some models on the chain. So that's our learning outcome too. Sorry, my slides a bit. Can you see on screen?
Yes, now. Yeah.
Okay. So next we're looking the model of chain. The process of chain in diagram here. We'll go through Levin model. He gave us model which is all about is a chain. So when we have a change, sometime something quickly can be changed. Sometime we have anti forces with that restrict to change. So which we need to be go through and how we can make sure we'll uh, manage the chain process effectively. Changing to the new pattern, refreezing to ensure lasting, which we'll go through now. There can be unfreeze, change, and refreeze. So he used three terminologies. So new behavior, new level relating to the quality of customer service, refreeze, change behaviors and the attitudes, unfreeze, existing behaviors, initially level of relating to the quality customer service. So what is come under unfreezing? Create initial motivations to change by the convincing staff. We need to look around, we need to motivate them, understandability of the present situation. We need to, first of all, we need to take on board of our employees, because ultimately employees are our key asset, especially in the customer service organization in a hotel industry. That's the first, because people have an interaction with the people. So if we want to change something, we must need to be like we want to be changed due to the competitive environment. We need to be changed due to be legislation like flexible working hours, because employees have a right. If we are running in the shift pattern, they can ask us change my shift, and as an employee, it is our responsibility to provide them opportunity to work in different shift. So if we're not providing it, but if we want to, we need to be look around unfreezing. We need to motivate our employees. We need to take on board what really we want to be. We want to cut the job. Why we want to cut the job? Or we want to move our payroll center abroad, IT center abroad, or something we want to close it. We need to take on board, because the reason is otherwise, everyone will lose the job. We can't sustain the way we are doing business. Our business is making losses, and we need to be rid of those losses and ultimately to sustain and protect the jobs of many others. The change process itself mainly concerned with the identifying the new behavior that the norm should be. New behaviors, the way we used to be. No, you need to clock in, you need to be must have a card, you must need to wear the ID, we must need to be time, you must do the break on this time or that time, your holidays need to be must taken within that certain period of time, you must have to apply 6 weeks before. All these sort of the changes we need to be, but we need to make sure it's change the behavior of the employee. Ultimately, if we're pushing them, what will happen? Staff retention is very, very important. in our organization. So refreezing, stabilizing the chain, implying the reinforcement of the new pattern of work. So behavior by reward. So we'll say, those people will be on time, they will be rewarded the bonus in a year. So we need to look around because we want to reduce the time people are carry on coming late. Ultimately, carry on coming late ultimately is costing us. Our process is not running effectively because the reason is workers are coming late. So all we need to make sure, so we run our effectively the processes. Any question?
No.
Okay, then even mention two type of restraining force and the driving force. So what type of forces those are really, uh, help to change or help to this is against the change. Anxiety about the job security that due to the change, the fresh challenge in job, maybe that's a driving force as well. People are very motivated with the new ideas. Change seems less stimulating, improve the reward. With this change, I have opportunity to earn more now because every product I'll make, I will be paid some bonus, some fees rate as well, not just a basic pay. So that can be fear of loss of power or status and increase the job. So we need to look around, this force field model. Some forces are against the chain and some forces are the driving force to work on. So when we're looking what type of those are the forces against, so we need to look around, we need to address it. Job factor, fear of technology, any technological changes, unemployment. So that's why we must need to think about the people have to learn the technology. If they don't learn it, ultimately will be lose the jobs. Fear to change to the working condition and fear to of reduced pay. We need to look around. If you don't perform it, your pay will be reduced. We need to look around those. We need to motivate it. The reason for why we are doing social factors, some dislike need to be break up, current social environment, personal dislike of people implement change, lack of consultation that can be. So we need to be consult more with the peoples to be what changes we want to make within our organization. Personal factors, so maybe we need to look around personal factor we need to address as well. Maybe one-to-one meeting we need to arrange to address those personal factors, or we want to motivate them, or we'll give them some sort of flexibility in different shift. Then the next author said there are the 4 reasons why self-interest can be due to some people are concerned with the implication of the chain for themselves and how it may affect their own interest rather than considering the effect of the success, of the business. Misunderstanding, communication problem, inadequate information that can be create a problem. Low tolerance to change. Certain people are very keen on security and stability in their work. So sometimes people don't want disruptions because if we'll change the shift pattern, if we'll change the layout, if we'll change the organization structure, if we'll change the power, or we want to decentralize or centralize, all these can be create a problem. So we must need to make sure it's a continuous chain process, not instant, the chain. So our chain process run effectively. Different assessment of the situation. Some employees maybe disagree. Some say teamwork is good, some say teamwork is bad. But we need to think about, yes, what will be bring as a long-term innovation in our organization and reduce cost. Any question?
No.
No. No.
Okay, please ask me if we not get any points. Okay, leadership style. So leader is anybody who can influence. Leadership style can be autocratic, democratic. These are the most often styles. Yeah. Is it, what do you think? Always we need to be democratic?
No.
No.
Okay, yes, you're right, because we're living in a quite competitive world. If we are too much democratic or too much autocratic, we can't really. Yes, we need to look around, we need to balance it. Yes, so participation, education, and communication power are reward method of overcoming. Those are don't want to be changed. Facilitation and support we need to be manipulation and cooperation and negotiation. All the style according to we need to be manage these styles effectively for the change. Then the next model is about the change where we're looking the change is not according to Vernica mentioned the organization. We need to look around what organization we are in. We need to look around what really we want to change and what context we want to change. So we need to look around the power, we need to look around the time, scope, question, diversity, capability, and capacity and readiness. People are really, we need to read them. We need to look around. They are willing to change or not. We need to take on board design and the choices change, path change, start point and the change style and the change intention and the change role. All this we need to be look around in the organization when we want to be changed. So this is self approach that will help in our organization. We need to look around those effectively to make the change. Then when we want to be changed, so we need to look around the imagination to innovate. We need to look around the professionalism to perform. We need to look around openness, how much we are open, how much we are listen to the people. If we just not enforce it, we listen it. We want change, but we want to listen it. Maybe we can make little address the processes that change will be happen effectively. So we need to turning in to the environment, challenging the prevailing of organizational wisdom, learning to preserve, communicate to compelling exploration. Communication is very important. Skills of managers. If managers have a good people skills, that will help to manage the change. Transferring of ownership to the work team. What is meant by changing to the ownership? Can we change the ownership to the work? What's come in your mind? Think about in our organization nowadays, people giving them shares, yes, as it works.
Yes.
When we are giving them shares, it means we are giving them ownership because the shareholder are the owner of the business. So that give us, we'll say that's your objective. We want to, from this team, we want this work to complete, yes. You
Yeah.
choose your leader yourself within a team, and whatever way you want to complete this task, you do so. End of the day, we just want to be complete this task, yes. So you have a ownership. You take your ownership. You can divide two worker will work, four will work, to this shift, to that shift, whatever. You're a team or you're a department. You take your ownership yourself, yes. You will be given the budget. Within that budget, you have to achieve this. So that's we need to look around. Then when we'll make the change, participation is very important. So we participate, people will involve everyone. Education and communication is very important. Power and some sort of if they don't perform it, what type of the punishment are can be not in a punishment, it can be financial reward or not giving them reward. Facilitation and support, what type of how we can cooperate each others to be achieve our objective, because ultimately whatever we want or the change, the purpose behind to achieve our objective effectively and lead our organization. So change, then chain transition curve, which is gave by Ross, so is 1960. This model is quite useful as well. So when you want to change, we need to look around the change curve. transition curve. Some people at the beginning is a shock. Yes. Some then they quite anger, depression, then they carry on accepting, then is integrations carry on happening. So because it's required the time, performance, time. Yes. So sometimes is very shock. Something suddenly you change is very shock. This need to be, that's why this change transition curve according to this, we need to look around the shock. Shock, disbelief may be short, but the characterized by the sharp decline in the performance and the motivation. When you make the change, maybe suddenly the performance and the motivation will drop, and a lot of people at this stage will leave the organization. Next step, employees feel the change isn't necessary. Maybe they feel, what's the point? Why they changing the shift pattern? Why they saying clock in? Why they saying, the break will be this and we do in two small breaks instead of half an hour break, one go. So we need to, of course, we need to look around the legislations as well, requirement about breaks and the changes. So all this, we need to. Anger, feeling unfairness, injustice can be experienced. Anger may be directed inward, the individual blaming themselves, or outward to the wider organization, will maybe blame to the new CEO and want to be power, and his style is totally, autocratic style. Depression, reality has begun to sink, and this represents that the lowest point for the employees in terms of the moral performance. Then the people, those some will start accepting, letting go, and the positive element of the change begin to emerge. Employees accept the change is really, maybe some people say the way we used to run the thing, we need to make a change. Initially, we'll say, what's the point? Then people carry on, they realize and they accept it. That's why the communication is very important, and leadership ability, leadership style is very important, keeping in view as well. Integration implies adopt new ways of working, renewed energy or enthusiasm, because of course new motivations will come, integrate, and ultimately, we'll achieve what we're supposed to be. Any question?
No.
No.
So today we discuss about some models of change, and we discuss what is the performance management, because ultimately whatever we want to be changed, ultimately we want to improve the performance. So we discuss what is the performance, what is the management. We discuss about the Peter Drucker, which is a great scholar. He wrote many books. He gave the management is a task, management is a discipline, management is also is a people management, is a failure of organization, is a failure of manager. Success of anything is a success of. Then we discuss performance consists of abilities as well. Performance leads to the individual we manage, the effectiveness, the system of organization, and we have a good information about the environmental factors, so ultimately improve the performance. We discuss about the performance management. We manage the strategic change, how we can manage. We discuss how we need to inline. We discuss about big bang or incremental change. We discuss about the next approaches of strategic change, competitive pressure, regulatory pressure, our first time mover advantage. That's why we want to be changed. We discuss about even model driving forces, and those are the constraints, those are the against, the change, and the reason for the change, how we can. And then we discuss about the leadership style which we need to adopt. We discuss about this model. We discuss about the when we'll make the change, we need to look around organization change itself and the context of the change. And then we discuss about change transition curve, which we explain, shock and anger, and then will people carry on accepting, but we need to be work on it effectively. We need to be develop good understanding and communication, and we need to take people on board that the change will happen effectively. That's all. We'll keep up to here. So if you have any question, drop me email, I'll get back to you. Okay. So today we cover LO1, LO2. So please go through inductive contents. I'll upload this lesson and I'll upload the book on the change management as well. So that will help you a bit, background reading. If you have any question, just drop me email on my email addresses are here.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody any question?
No,